Welcome back, friends. Today I am wrapping our Christmas gifts, and so thought it would be fun just to take you along for the process to wrap presents with you, but also too I thought it would be fun just as I do this to talk through my approach to gift giving around the holidays, kind of how I try to balance the fun, the festivity of the season. I've always loved the experience of opening up gifts on Christmas Day, with also trying to keep things more minimal, meaningful, and just to not get lost in the craziness that can often come with the gift giving season as well. So figured we could chat through some of that today. I want to talk through kind of my approach, how I try to give better gifts, as well as just some of the specifics too of what I'm gifting. So if you're a friend or family member watching this, don't maybe skip this particular video, but I think that this will be just a fun conversation to have, and something that I feel like I've really been developing my thoughts and feelings about over the years. I feel like I've gone to both extremes in the past of trying to give so many gifts and just the volume got totally out of hand. You kind of lose some of the meaning of the season. But then also too, I've been at the other extreme of trying to keep things so ultra minimal that I feel like sometimes the generosity of Christmas is a part of what makes it fun. Obviously, that's not what it's about, but it is also fun too. I love giving meaningful gifts that are going to be cherished and loved. So I've really been trying to figure out where do I land in the balance, and so I figured we could chat through some of that today. So got myself a tea. This is Santa's Secret by David's Tea. It's just a super fun, festive black tea. So going to sip on that. Got some wrapping paper out, so let's wrap some presents and then chat gifts as well. I think I'll start with Christopher's gifts. You've already seen these. This is the bride nailer that I showed you in, I think it was a couple videos ago. We've got the laser level and then the battery pack. So I'll wrap these first. Also, this is the wrapping paper that I'm going to be using. I usually just get 2 rolls of wrapping paper at the beginning of the season, and that usually lasts me for the entire year. This year I picked out this really pretty print with some vintage stamps, and then I thought that this plaid paired really nicely with it too. These are both from the Magnolia home line at Target. I feel like they always do the most beautiful vintage style wrapping paper around Christmas. I love it. So I've been getting wrapping paper from that line for a couple of years now, so I'm going to use that. Then I have some fun ribbon. We've got some chiffon ribbon, some velvet ribbon, some twine. I really just reuse all of this stuff from year to year. That way, it's more environmentally friendly, and also, the stuff is a little bit more on the pricey side, so nice to be able to reuse it. Obviously, I do get new wrapping paper though, so going to use that. Got my tape, my scissors. Let's get to wrapping. But first, tea. I think we'll do this bride nailer in the stamp print. Okay, but now let's chat my philosophy of gift giving, if you will. Something that I heard several years ago. I didn't grow up doing it, but I loved when I first heard it, and I've been trying to kind of use it as a guide, and I've even added to it in the years since. Actually wait, let me finish cutting this to the right size. I think I need to sharpen my scissors because they're just not gliding very well right here. The rhyme that I like to follow is something they want, something they need, something to wear, and something to read. And I feel like that just really kind of in an instant encapsulates a lot of what to me makes for more intentional gifting. But over the years I've kind of been thinking through this and really wanting to just kind of get to the root of what makes for intentional, just thoughtful gift, and I've kind of added a couple of things to it. So I also love the idea of gifting something to eat, something to experience, and something consumable. So those are kind of the filters that I like to run through any gift that I'm looking at giving, and really if it doesn't fall into one of those categories, I just won't give something as a gift. But then of course, especially once you've added in my extra categories, that's a lot. So typically what I like to do is, I treat it differently for different people that I'm giving gifts to. So for example, for my husband, I'll pick usually, I'd say 3 or 4 of those categories, and I'll give him just a couple of gifts that meet some of those different ones. So I might get him a clothing item that he needs, something fun that he's really excited about, and then maybe a tool or something that he's going to be able to use for different projects. I think for our future children, that's what I want to do as well. Keeping things a bit more simple. I'll share with you exactly what I'm getting for Oliver. We're keeping things pretty low-key this year just because he's 8 months old, but in the future, I think that maybe like 3 or 4 gifts kind of along the lines of each of those categories. I think I really like the sounds of that personally. It still makes Christmas fun. You still get the joy, the excitement of opening gifts. I loved that growing up, but it doesn't make it too over the top. Then for Christopher's side of the family, my side of the family, I'll really just treat those as options and pick one thing from that list. So I feel like that's a helpful place to start. Hold on, I'm going to label these as I wrap them. That way I don't get them mixed up. I bought a pack of these on clearance after Christmas one year, and I've just been using them since. We're getting to the end though. To Christopher. I think this might be a cute one to add a bit of ribbon to. Maybe, honestly, I think twine would be really cute with this. Okay, but yeah, I feel like that rhyme can be a good starting place, but I also feel like there are a few other tips and tricks, if you will, that I've picked up over the years that also lead to just really meaningful, intentional gifts. So I'd say a couple of those are, number one, I'd say the biggest mistake I see people make all the time when it comes to giving meaningful gifts is they buy gifts that they like for themselves that don't necessarily take into consider the other person's likes, interests, all of that. And so they'll see something that they like when shopping online, in a store, and they'll think, oh, I'm going to get this for this person. But the problem is that person might not necessarily like what it is that they've picked out. And so I think you need to be really mindful of that almost like inherent bias towards getting things that you like personally, and to really think through, okay, who is this person that I'm getting a gift for? What are they going to love? What are they going to use? What are they going to cherish? Just kind of keeping in mind that we're all different, our likes, our interests, everything, it's unique. And so you want to try to focus on finding a gift, giving a gift that's unique for that person. Okay, here we go. First gift looks straight from the North Pole. Next gift we're wrapping is the battery pack. I'm going to use the same wrapping paper. That way I'll know to just make sure that he opens them together. There we go. Oh no. I made a mistake. Well, I guess we'll be wrapping that in a second. Is there something else we can use this wrapping paper for? It's always the most frustrating thing when you're like an inch off of having just the right amount of wrapping paper. Okay, change of plans. My sister loved the redwood sweatshirt I got a couple months back, so I found this Great Sand Dunes National Park one for her. My family went here growing up, and she has told me a few times that it's her favorite national park, so I thought that that would be a really fun gift, and she told me she needed a new sweater, so I think she's gonna love it. To make wrapping it a little bit easier, I'm going to wrap it in this little gift box. This is another one of those things that I like to reuse from year to year. It's going to be so much easier to wrap. This doesn't fit either. That's hilarious. I think I'm just going to save this. There's plenty of other things that I'll be able to use. Just cut it up a bit. We'll try again. Okay, and then we're just gonna go this way. That way I know we're good. Okay, I think we're good now. I totally forget what I was saying, but yeah, I think that generally speaking, if you just begin with the mindset of not what do I like, what are my interests, what's my aesthetic, but if you just start from that like others focused perspective of what are their interests, what do they love, what do they need, what do they like, if you begin with that, I feel like that's just such a great foundation for giving better gifts. Just giving things that are going to be loved and appreciated by the gift recipient for years to come. Then I'd say maybe a couple of other just really good gift giving tips too are, don't confine yourself to 1 month or one season of the year. I love, just as I go about my life, 12 months a year, if I see something that reminds me of someone that I think, oh, they would absolutely love this, or they've been saying that they need this, I'll go ahead and pick it up then and just either give it to them then or hold on to it for Christmas. I'd say especially if it's in like the last 6 months of the year, they don't have a birthday coming up, anything like that, I'll definitely just pick something up and hold on to it for them for Christmas. I feel like that just makes, when you're, you know, getting into the festive season, it makes it a lot easier because you don't have any like feelings of stress or just like busyness, which, you know, not that you should have that anyways, and I'm a big believer in trying to yeah, plan ahead and just not to put pressure on yourself so that you don't get that in the first place. But it's another one of those things that you can do just to help, yeah, reduce or to eliminate that. Then I'd say probably one of the most practical things that you can do, something that our families have been doing for a few years now that's so helpful, is just to create gift lists. Not of things that, oh, I expect all of these things, but almost just like ideas and inspiration of like, these are some things that would be helpful that I could use that would add value to my life. And I think for me, especially in wanting to give gifts that I know are going to be helpful, going to be useful to people, I feel like gift lists just really give me confidence as I'm giving that I'm giving things that are going to be cherished. Okay, I have to say, take 2 is going so much better. This is an awkward item to try and wrap, and I'm pretty proud of how this is coming out. Okay, but those are some just more general tips and things that I've picked up over the years that I think really lead to just more simple, intentional, meaningful gifts, which I'm all about. But then figured we could also maybe talk some specifics as well, because I feel like it's one thing to hear some general advice. I feel like it's also kind of interesting to see how other people do it. So let's talk specifics, what we do for each side of the family, how much we spend, all of it. Before we do, this is gift number 2. I think that by wrapping them the exact same way, it'll just remind me to make sure he opens them at the same time. Write our label. I'll just stick that on the back. I feel like the labels, while helpful, aren't necessarily the prettiest, so I always stick them on the side that you can't see. Oh, that string might be too long. This is the final thing that I'm going to wrap for him today. We've got an exciting home project that I think we're going to tackle in January or February. He'll need all of the stuff that I've shown you so far. He'll need that for. Okay, but specifics. I've already shown you the majority of what I'm getting Christopher for Christmas. I haven't bought it yet, but I think the couple of other things that I'm going to be getting him are a few clothing items. So he really needs a new sweater or 2 and a pair of athletic pants because he's worn his current ones out. So I'm thinking I'm either going to maybe go shopping with him or get him a gift card. That way he can pick things that he likes for himself out, but it's definitely something that he needs. We usually do a $200 budget that we'll spend on each other. So like he'll spend $200 on me, I'll spend $200 on him. Oftentimes it's usually a combination of fun things and things that we need. So like I'd say these are all more fun things. The clothing, definitely something that he needs, and he's terrible at buying clothing for himself too, so it makes for good gifts. We've been doing that, I think, pretty much ever since we got married. Budget hasn't really increased, although there have been a couple of years where we've done something a little bit, larger for each other. One year we really needed a new sound system, so I got that kind of as a gift for him, but also I was benefiting from it. A couple of years ago, we decided to get a TV and we used both of our budgets and then some. But I'd say most years we really do try to stick to that budget. And I don't know, I think maybe as Oliver and future kids too get older, I wouldn't be surprised if we just stopped giving gifts to each other or just stuck to some of the more practical bits. But for now, we do, and it's fun. And really too, we aren't hugely the type of people who just see something and go and buy it, especially with fun stuff. So it makes it really fun at Christmas, just being able to, give some of those things that we might like throughout the year, but we're not going to buy for ourselves. It's fun to be able to give some of that to each other. I've got some leftover wrapping paper here, so I'm just going to wrap these little Canadian Swedish dishcloths for my mom. I introduced her to these earlier this year, and I love how obsessed she is with them. And she is a very proud Canadian, so I know she's going to love them. She's literally just saying that she needed some new ones too. But yeah, that's what Christopher and I do. Then for my side of the family, traditionally, we've done a Secret Santa. I have 3 siblings, so my younger sister, and then there's twins in our family too. We're all adults now. But for the past several years, we've just done a Secret Santa. We'll all draw names, give gifts to each other. It's a lot of fun. This year, we are doing things a little bit differently because we're actually all going to be in the same place for Christmas this year. 2 of my siblings live in Canada, so it's been a long time since we've done a family Christmas. I think was before 2020, like 2019 I think was the last Christmas we were all together. So I'm really excited that we get to all be together, but because of that we decided to forgo Secret Santa this year, and instead we're each going to be getting one gift for each other. That's what we did growing up. I feel like it's going to be, yeah, just a sweet, fun change. We don't have a set budget or anything, but we're kind of aiming for the like $30 to $40 range. I'd say some of the gifts we're giving are a little bit less, some a bit more. Kind of depends on what they need, what we find, all of that. And that's actually what we do for Christopher's side of the family too. Although last year, and I thought that it was really fun, we also did a Secret Santa for stockings. So we each drew the name of a sibling, a family member to do a stocking for. And so we did just little like consumables, food, all of that in those. Thought that that was really fun too. And his family is the same size as mine. He's got 3 siblings, and we have pretty similar budget for his family this year at least. Of course, on the years where my family does Secret Santa, what I love about that is we're able to get kind of like a nicer gift for that specific gift recipient. I'd say we're usually in the like $100 to $200 range. I feel like that's cool because you are able to get something, yeah, just a little bit more. Maybe it's quality, maybe it's something that they need that they wouldn't necessarily spend money on themselves. I think we're probably going to go back to that after this year, but since we're all together, we all decided it would be fun just to, yeah, be able to give something to everyone. Okay, now we can wrap the sweater. So let's see here. We've talked through my approach to gifts, what we spend. I guess a couple of other things I'd say are, well, number one, we are very well aware that every family member's financial situation is different. And so what I love about both of our families is no one ever like makes a fuss about like how much somebody spent on someone. If one person gets a bit of a nicer gift than, you know, another person, like we all know that we love each other and care about each other, and that at the end of the day, it's not about the gifts. Like we love giving gifts and it's fun. But it's not about that at the end of the day for anyone. And so I do have to say that I love that we're all able to kind of like keep that big picture perspective in mind. So if somebody, yeah, doesn't have the finances one year to do like really anything, that's totally fine. If the gifts aren't super balanced, that's okay too. I feel like there's a lot of grace that we all extend to each other. I think that that's so important. The gifts are fun, but that's not what Christmas is about, and I feel like it's just so important to keep that in mind, to remember that. Both of our families are Christian too, so I feel like that's really helpful because we can all, yeah, just pause and remember like the birth of Jesus, the time that we're all able to spend together. That's what's really important. The generosity piece is just icing on the cake. We're just trying to make some really crisp lines here. It's another gift done. I tried to make the wrapping look really satisfying. I don't even know that other people notice, but I think that it's fun and it's satisfying for me. And then really the last thing that I wanted to touch on, because I had a few of you asking about it, is what we're getting Oliver for Christmas. We have an 8-month-old baby. He's going to be close to 9 months around Christmas, but he's less than a year old. He doesn't really understand what Christmas is at this point. So we debated not doing any gifts for him, which I was totally okay with, but then also thought it would be fun just to do a couple small things as well. So we decided on 2 gifts for him. If you're going by the rhyme, it's something he wants and something to read. He is obsessed with our remotes, always trying to chew on them, push the buttons. So I found this little toy teether remote on Amazon. It's made from silicone, so it's safe for him to put in his mouth. It's got all the fun buttons for him to press, lots of cool textures. I know that he's going to love it, and he actually just got his first tooth in the other day, which is so cute. That means that there's more on the way, so I'm sure teething toy is going to be much loved. Then we were also at Barnes & Noble's and thought it would be really sweet to pick out a book for him. This is The Rainbow Fish. I grew up reading this book. I think it'll be so fun to read it with him. I just have super fun memories of reading this. So yeah, that's what we're getting him for Christmas. Just 2 things. I mean, really at this point, there's no point in getting him clothing. He's not going to have fun playing with that necessarily, and so I figured we'd get a couple of things for him that we know that he's going to love. He's obsessed with reading. He literally gets so excited whenever we pull out his books. And the same thing with his remote. We really have most of the toys that we need, so don't feel like we need to get a ton of gifts for him. have a feeling family is going to be getting him a few things as well. That's actually something that we did too. We obviously made it clear that Oliver doesn't need gifts. We're happy to buy things for him, but because we knew some family members were excited about getting things for him, we did create a little wish list of a few toys that are in the next developmental stage, some clothing items in the next size that I think that he's going to be able to get a lot of wear from, gaps that we just don't have items for him yet in those sizes. So we'll report back on how that goes, but I'm hoping that doing that is going to make it so that we're not overwhelmed with a ton of toys, clothing, all of that for him that we don't need, and that instead it's going to be things that he can grow into a little bit and that we haven't purchased yet. We don't have duplicates of things that we'd be probably picking up anyways. We'll report back. Yeah, that is what we're doing for him this Christmas. I think next year I wouldn't be surprised if that's when we officially go to the little rhyme that I shared before. I guess we kind of are doing that this year too, just a super low-key version. But really with a baby, I feel like the fun, the experience for him is going to be all about ripping presents open, playing with tissue paper, all of that. I was actually even thinking of doing like a sensory box for him to open on Christmas Day. Not necessarily a present, but just like a box filled with all kinds of household things that he can play with during the morning. I think that that would be really fun. I'm sure I'm not the first person to think of that idea, so probably do some research, see if there are any fun, ideas or tutorials out there, but I thought that that would be really cute. Yeah, that's what we're doing for him this Christmas. I feel like this year, and we might be in this place for a few years, we're kind of in a weird in-between where we still do like Christmas morning with each of our immediate families. We usually rotate years, but then because they live pretty close by, we'll usually celebrate Christmas on a kind of day surrounding the week of Christmas. But as we have more children, as our kids get older, I wouldn't be surprised too if we end up deciding to do like Christmas morning with our family and then seeing family the days surrounding Christmas. And I'd imagine that will impact how we give gifts, all of that. We'll probably just switch to doing Secret Santa with siblings. Right now we're the only ones with a baby on either side of the family, so I feel like as our siblings start having kids too, that'll change things. But that's how we're doing things this year. I'd love to know though, how do you do Christmas in your family? Do you do gifts for, siblings, family, partners? I'd love to hear what that looks like for you, so let me know. I think Oliver is probably going to wake up from his nap any minute now, so I think I'm going to, wrap things up, get ready. Oh, I think I can hear him. I'm going to wrap things up. We'll finish up wrapping later. We got a good dent put in it. I feel like the tree is starting to look really fun and festive. So I hope that you enjoyed coming along, wrapping gifts with me, chatting all things gift giving. Don't think I'm going to have another video going up before Christmas, so Merry Christmas, friends. I'll see you all again very soon. Bye.